Denny G, welcome to Behind the Windshield with Dennis the Apprentice.
Well, thank you very much, Dennis the Apprentice.
We finally got here.
Yes, we're
Awesome.
here. We're behind the windshield. It's like right there.
Exactly.
Like right there.
So this started about 2 years ago, right? At the Wet Show I met you, I think.
Yes, correct.
That was there was a meetup or something, kind of a spontaneous meetup at a bar or something, I think.
I do believe that's
right?
correct. Yeah, I think so.
That was very cool. I met George the plumber that
Yes.
year.
Yeah.
And yourself.
Yeah.
A couple other guys.
Remember, I met the Apprentice.
Yes.
Yeah, the Apprentice. I don't think he's here this year.
He couldn't make it because of the vaccine and the borders and stuff.
Correct.
I looked into him.
Yeah,
Wow.
I met quite a few people that year.
Very cool. So I'm just talking about apprenticeships and exploring that, and I'd love to hear your story about how you found the plumbing trade.
Sure. I actually found the plumbing trade a little late in life. I was 35 years old.
Okay.
Whenever I got into the apprenticeship. So a little brief history. Graduated high school, went into the Air Force.
Okay.
So I served 5 years in the Air Force as a firefighter. And when I got out, I went to work in the steel mill where my dad worked at for almost 12 years. So the last 4 years of that, I wasn't really happy with the steel mill work. It was boring to me. And I opened up a video game rental and retail store.
Wow.
A physical location that we rented out video games, we sold video games, the systems, everything.
Right.
Okay? And so that was called Games by the Day because you could rent them on a daily basis.
Sure.
At the time, everyone rented them for 5 days. But
Yeah.
so that was the whole scheme of that, and it worked really well. People liked that. Opened a second location, that didn't do as well, and I was just kind of a little bit bummed by that, closed it down, and still had the one location. And a friend, a lifelong friend of mine, said he could get me into plumbing if I wanted out of that mill, and I wanted something interesting. And I said, you know what, let's do it.
Yeah.
So he helped me get into Plumbers Local 210,
Okay.
which is, I'm still a current member of Plumbers Local 210. I'm a signatory contractor now.
Okay.
So yeah, I got into the apprenticeship at 35 years old. I walked away from that mill job.
Awesome.
And it was kind of I don't want to say a midlife crisis, but a midlife job change.
Sure.
And it's one that I've not regretted for a single day. I'll tell you that right now.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What was it that intrigued you or kept you involved in your apprenticeship? Like, what got you, like, this is where I need to be?
I guess my drive to be the best at whatever it was that I was doing. You know, whatever, I want to shoot for the moon. If I fall just short, well, I'm still out in outer space, right?
Absolutely.
So that was kind of what my focus was the whole time. You hear things about, guys top out after their 5 years of apprenticeship school or whatever, and they may be laid off. Well, I didn't want to be in that situation. So, I said, well, I will shoot to do the best that I can do. And then at the end of it all, I should be somewhat successful.
Absolutely.
That's what my goal was. So I focused the whole time to be at the top of the class, treat every subject like it was really important, and it was. And so.
Awesome. So what did you actually do? Like, if you're instructing a young person just starting in their apprenticeship, what are 2 or 3 things to do every day, or what to do to stick out like a sore thumb in a good way, right? Like to really show up and be there.
It's cool to see you say that because I hear you like every day say that. It's kind of cool to be right here.
You know what? The inspiration for that is Trent. Trent's here, one of my techs.
Okay.
One of my very first posts, he smashed his thumb, and he's got this bandaged picture of his thumb with a big smile, and that's where that came from.
That's awesome. Now I'll think about that every time that I see you say that.
Yeah.
So a couple things that I would say is to a young apprentice starting off would be to go above and beyond what you're being taught. So you got your journeyman that you're working with. Maybe read. Maybe ask him for a code book. If he hasn't already given you one. Do a little bit of extra, and that way, much like myself, you shoot for the stars or whatever, and you'll have to aim. You aim high, and you're going to have to hit somewhere high.
Absolutely.
So just do a little bit extra. Don't go in for the minimum.
Okay.
If they say, do this, you do that, well, maybe whenever they're gone, try a little bit more. Do it again.
Right.
Solder that another joint. You got a couple extra fittings here that you can scrap. Just give them a shot,
Right. If they give you 5 joints, do 6 or 7. Right?
There you go. If you can do that, if it fits into whatever you're doing, always try to do a little bit better. They say clean up. Don't just clean up. Make sure it's darn good and clean.
Right.
Do a good job at it.
Right.
Clean the next room that they weren't expecting.
Right.
Whatever.
Awesome. Going the extra mile, being remarkable.
Yes. That makes you stand out
for sure
in a good way. Right? What is it? Stand out like a sore thumb.
Stand out like a sore thumb in a good way.
Very good. I was going to butcher
I've got that picture. I got that picture. Trent's here. I'll have him do it. Very cool. So how'd you figure out to be on your own rather than work for someone else?
Well, that kind of, I've always had the entrepreneur spirit. Maybe I don't work well for others, and therefore I need to work for myself. That's probably a negative, but at the same time, it drives me. But it was kind of a forced situation because in 2011, construction was down, and mostly when you're working, at least in our area for the unions, usually you're doing commercial construction,
right?
Building schools, hotels, things of that nature. That was down in 2011. And so there was a lot of people laid off. I was one of them. So for the whole year of 2011, I was just about laid off. And so that kind of was my driving factor of, well, I have my contractor's license, which I got early on, just in case.
Right.
Okay. Never really intended to be a contractor, but I thought, I'll get it, and that way it's kind of an ace in my up my sleeve,
Sure.
And it came in handy. I'm laid off. I think I can do better by myself, keeping myself employed, than one of these construction contractors that don't have buildings to build.
Right.
And so that's when I learned the service trade, because I never did service. I only did construction, so new construction.
Right.
So that was something I kind of mostly had taught myself, based on the principles I learned in plumbing, but I had to really navigate the waters of service work.
Sure.
So, but I thought, you know what?
It's a different animal.
It's a whole different animal. But since I've started the business, which was in March next month, it'll be 10 years.
10 years.
10 years ago. And I've not had a day off that I have not wanted to have. That's a fact.
Imagine that.
So I've had a lot of days that I've worked that I didn't want to work, but I haven't had any days off that I didn't want. So.
Perfect. There's plenty of work out there.
There's plenty of work out there,
Now, do you have employees? Or are you on your own? Or?
I'm on my own. I've been the whole time. I've had a helper here or two, but for the most part, it's always been every job just me. I'm actually at the beginning of going to have my first official employee. I found a young man that reached out to me that I knew. He went to school with my daughter, and so he's about 20 years old right now. And he showed interest in a plumbing career.
Right.
And I mean, I was a little bit shocked. You wonder, did I just get punked? Did somebody, what's going on? 20-year-olds aren't reaching out right now to try to get into plumbing. It's just not what we see. And so, and this young man is a fine young man, and he was a 3-sport athlete, so he's physically got abilities, and he graduated salutatorian, a small school, but still. He had to beat 12 others, so he's got a brain in his head, which is good. So I'm like, wow, a guy with physical abilities and learning abilities, and he wants to be in plumbing. How can I turn that down? Sold. Right. When do we start?
Right.
So actually, he's going through the application process at our union hall right now in Plumbers Local 210. He's applied, and he has his job interview in March.
Awesome.
Or not job interview, interview to get into the apprenticeship program.
Right.
So, but then I plan to hire him at Gronendyke Plumbing, and I'm going to try to pour everything I've got into that young man.
Awesome. I think there's something about once we've mastered our craft, we want to leave a legacy.
Yes.
We're looking for someone that will take interest in what we love. And pass it on to somebody.
And that someone is hard to find, believe it or not. There's not just everybody. I can't just pick somebody and say, here, I want to leave you this legacy of plumbing and fixing problems and being the hero and saving the day. And not everyone's interested in doing that, or able to do that. Some people might be interested and they don't have it going on up here, but they're not physically able to. So, but I think this guy has really good promise, and so
Awesome.
I'm excited about it.
That's very exciting. That's very cool.
Yeah, that's my next chapter in life, is
Very
trying
cool.
to start a legacy.
Now make sure he listens to Dennis the Apprentice, right?
Oh, of course.
I'll get him on the right track.
Of course,
for sure.
of course.
So how did you find Instagram?
How did I find
Or how did
Instagram?
Instagram find you?
Well, I started off mostly with Facebook, with like plumbing groups.
Okay.
The plumbing hacks and professional plumbing discussion
Yeah.
was really my thing that I kind of got into. I think they have maybe 43,000 members now. They had 5,000 whenever I joined onto that, so
Okay.
they've grown a lot. But that was a great insight to meeting other plumbers, learning how other people do it, sharing how I do it. Forever, I wasn't the Rapping Plumber. I was How It Be with Danny G, because I would like to share and show people how I may tackle something,
Right.
and give people ideas like, hey, that's a neat little idea, or that was dumb.
Right.
It's all. Some things hit, some things don't.
Exactly.
So it's Facebook. Well, then through that group, they just brought up John Thompson. That was the first person that I ever heard of that was on this Instagram thing,
Yeah.
Somebody said, yeah, I think Brian Hammonds was talking about, oh yeah, John Thompson, he's all big on this Instagram thing, and so then at the Wet Show, we had a big meeting at a restaurant, and there was a lot of IG guys there.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anyone except for John Thompson because of that long mustache.
Right,
That was
right.
his identifying thing. So that was the first time I heard about it and thought, well, let me see what this is about. So,
Right.
yeah.
Very cool. That's so fun.
Which I actually prefer Instagram over Facebook.
Interesting.
Yeah, Instagram right away became the positive thing, where most positivity is happening on Instagram.
Right.
Amongst the trades, amongst tearing people down, like that happens on a lot of these, and it's not just the hacks group. It's other plumbing sites. You post a picture of your work, and right away you get everybody wanting to rip you apart and
Right.
tear you apart. For I wouldn't do it that way. You can't
Yeah.
do that. Not
Right.
here, And so on Instagram, you don't get as much. You may post something, if somebody doesn't like it, they just zip their.
Isn't it
they just
interesting the
keep
different
scrolling.
personalities they have?
It is.
The platforms have just completely different personalities.
Yeah. So on
Yeah.
Instagram, it's more, positive, mostly positive comments about, that looks really good work or whatever, and so you get that good vibe.
Yeah.
going
Interesting.
on, yeah.
TikTok yet?
A little bit of TikTok. I really haven't figured TikTok out all the way.
It's tough.
It's a whole different character.
Yeah.
So I put a few things out there, and I'm not successful like George is on TikTok. Like,
Yeah.
That's the man,
Totally. That's how I met George.
Really?
He had at the Wet Show 2 years ago, he had one video that just exploded, like millions.
Right.
And I'm like, how did you do that? And he goes, I have no idea. And he's never done it again.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But that's how I met him.
Right.
So, because I was looking for TikTok stuff, and like, how do you do that? And it's like,
Okay.
who's this George the Plumber that's got millions of views?
Right, yeah.
So where did the Rapping Plumber come from?
So pretty much I've been rapping since I was a freshman in high school.
Okay.
So 1984-ish.
Yeah.
In the halls of the school, heard Run DMC. Okay.
Yeah.
And in the crazy
True rap right there. That was the real stuff right there.
True rap right there.
DJ Jazzy Jeff and the
Oh,
Fresh Prince. Right? All that stuff.
You ain't lying.
Now we're talking.
So those were my inspirations, and and so it was always just fun until through Instagram. I kind of was rapping a little bit. There's a guy named Alex. The biggest plumber that you'd probably, the biggest plumber.
Okay.
He's in Windsor, Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
And Alex encouraged. I did a rap one time, a very short little impromptu thing.
Yeah.
And he picked up on that, and he has way more followers than I do, and I thought it was really cool that he picked up on it, and he shared it and thought it was really cool, and he encouraged me to do some more of that. That was really good stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, and so then I did another little thing here too. I did a little spoof. It was kind of like little spoof raps,
Right.
and so I did a couple more, and he really encouraged me through that. And then through the rapping on Instagram, someone reached out to me from Canada, from Vancouver, to do a radio commercial. and said,
Awesome.
hey, would you be interested in doing a radio commercial for my plumbing company in Vancouver? It would be on a couple different stations and 30 seconds, and we would pay you for it. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, I would. And so we did that one, and they were extremely happy with it. It did really well. They got great feedback. I would have a lot of people sending me little videos of them on a job site, and with the radio, job site radio there, and the rap came on the radio. And they would like record their jam box and the radio, and they would send that to me. Or they'd be in their car, and it would come on the radio. So I would actually get to hear myself on the radio, which was kind of neat, yeah. So that was cool. Then that led to one in Michigan, and then just started. It just kind of was a little snowball effect. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many have you done?
Oh, I've probably done, I would say 20.
Awesome.
20 of those paid commercial
to be
raps.
used as like a commercial for a company.
Yeah. So
have you done one for Zoom?
I have not. Zoom needs to reach out.
Zoom needs a rap for the commercials.
And basically what I do is when somebody's interested in a rap, I'll go ahead and almost interview them of sorts, even if it's through text messaging, and say, what is it about, let's say Zoom, what is it about Zoom that you want to project to the world?
Right.
Well, give me some important things.
Right.
What are you proud of? What services do you offer? What are you really wanting to hit? You got a special you're wanting to get out there? And so, I get, how long have you been around? Do you want that in your rap? I mean, I try to tailor it to their business. And so, once they give me all that info, then I just get to work. I'll come up with a beat and then start to throw things together. And
that is so cool.
Yeah, usually driving around in my plumbing truck from job to job, I've got a beat going all the time.
Right.
And I just kind of on repeat, and I come up with a line, and I'll stop, and I'll type it in my phone, and that way I don't forget it.
Right, very cool.
Yeah.
That might be fun for Behind the Windshield, right?
There you go.
Have a little intro, outro.
There you go.
That'd be fun.
I think it could
very
work.
Cool. We have to talk about that.
All right.
I think it's amazing, these wet shows. I never went to these trade shows. I've been running my own business for 20 years now, and heads down, working, never time to get out and go away. And getting away, like, what your business is all about or your trade's all about, but then you come out here and you realize it's huge.
It is.
And then you meet people like you, and it's even bigger. Like, you're rapping in your truck.
Right.
It's like these trades. The sky's the limit to the trades about what you can do in it, right? It's not just doing drains or fixing toilets
right.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. And here at the Wet Show, I'm amazed at things that I can't do and I probably never will do.
Right.
But it's like, wow, people are doing that. This whole pipelining thing.
Yeah.
And you talk to somebody who does pipelining, oh, it's nothing. It's, to me, I look at that and I think it's like sorcery. It's like magic.
Yeah.
How do you do that? And, it's this. And it sounds easy.
Can you imagine getting our grandparents to come over here and visit us for a day and see what's going on in the world?
I know.
With all this technology?
I know, right?
It's amazing.
Yeah, crazy.
Very cool. Well, Danny, thanks so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
And if you don't subscribe, follow at...
The Rapping Plumber.
The Rapping Plumber.
Yeah, and I also have a Rapping Plumber YouTube.
Okay.
And so my YouTube channel is The Rapping Plumber.
Okay.
And all the raps are on there.
Oh, they're all on there?
Yeah.
On your YouTube channel?
Yeah, they're all on there. Yeah, I try not to put any other clutter, I just put the videos. And
have you sold territories yet? So no competition territories for your raps?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't. So
cool.
I do have one company that I have an exclusivity deal with.
Yeah.
That I don't rap for their competitors and whatnot.
Right.
So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
For me and for them. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for coming on.
Let me share one more thing, because
it
was the coolest thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Was yesterday morning, gassing up at the gas station before coming to the Wet Show in the morning in my area. A customer at the gas station says to me, "Excuse me, are you a plumber?" Now, I wasn't dressed as a plumber. I was dressed as me. And I said, "Yes, I am a plumber." And he says, "Are you a rapper?" I said, "Yes, actually, I am a rapper." And now I'm really intrigued. Like, how does this guy know? He goes, "Your song, I Got a Wrench for That, is my daughter's favorite song ever."
No way.
She made me listen to that song like 5 times in a row, and we were bumping it loud on my car system.
Awesome.
And I was like, "Are you serious?" He
I've got a
said,
wrench for
"Yeah,
that."
I got a wrench for that. Yeah. So and actually, Alex, the guy I spoke of,
Yeah.
I have him do a little cameo in that rap. So on that video, I got a wrench for
Awesome.
that. It's a lot about rigid wrenches and
Awesome.
stuff. So, but I looked at him and said, "How did you know?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, you actually changed a faucet at my house, and
Oh.
after you left, I looked you up,
Right,
and
right.
found your rap songs."
Right.
I was like, "Wow, that's kind of interesting."
That is totally cool.
So I had this like a fame moment that was
Totally.
just really weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he said, "And are you a rapper?" and I went, "Yeah."
Talking of fame moments, we're not done, obviously.
No. Yeah.
Talking about fame moments, isn't it bizarre to be in another city, walking down a corridor, and people call you out?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And it's like, oh my goodness.
And that's a feeling that I don't really do that well with. I always thought I would. Like I always look to want to be popular or whatever.
Sure.
And then when that moment hits and you hear Danny G and you turn around and you don't have a clue who it was.
Yeah.
And then it's awkward.
Yeah.
For me, it gets a little awkward. Like right away, I'm looking at your name tag, and sometimes they let you off the hook. "Oh, you don't know me. I don't post, but I follow your stuff." You know?
Right. Right.
And so, but it's kind of a little bit of a weird feeling still.
Totally. I was, my first time was 2 years ago at the AHR show in Florida.
I met you there. Actually, that's where I met you.
Is it?
That's where I met you. I was with Bold. Me and Bold were walking
yes.
around at that
Yeah.
taco party.
Yes, exactly.
That's where I met you at the
Yes,
taco party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was the first time. Like,
Okay.
I didn't see Apprentice. I turn around, and this big bearded plumber guy gives me a hug and says, "I watch you every morning." And I'm like, wow, this is bizarre.
That is.
So, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's a weird feeling, but
Yeah.
it's cool. It's cool.
Tell me about your new car really quick.
Okay, so
You've got a new car.
I got a new car. Actually, kind of a little sporting that Corvette. That Corvette Mojo right there. So yeah, I was able to buy a brand new 2021 Corvette convertible, and it's a C8. It's the newest model.
Okay.
And really, what happened was doing a rap video for Nibco for their Rot Racer product. They have a new Corvette, and that was the first time I ever got to drive a Corvette in my life. So for the rap video. And whenever I drove that, I said, "This is definitely." I've always wanted one all my life.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a Corvette. I've always wanted a Lamborghini since I was a kid. 7 years old, I can remember having a poster of a Lamborghini.
Sure.
But I always wanted a Corvette. Always wanted a Lamborghini. Well, now Corvette makes a car that kind of looks like a Lamborghini.
Sure.
And so it's almost bringing both worlds together. And through the wrapping, I was able to purchase that with all wrapping money. I've saved all that wrapping money, so I don't blow through it. Every
cool.
dime of wrapping money that I've been paid, I've saved and saved and saved. And one day I go in to get plumbing tires for my plumbing truck, okay?
Right,
Tires for my
right.
truck. And I pull in to get the tires, and there's that car. And it was just the perfect moment. And I messed with the dealer. "Hey, you got any Corvettes for me?" Because there's a 1.5-year waiting list.
Sure.
And I thought that must be the owner of the
dealership.
The dealership,
Yeah.
right? You know. And he said, "Yeah, we actually just got one about an hour ago. It got here, and we weren't expecting it." And I'm like,
No way.
"What?" And so I made a phone call. He said, "There's people on their way up to look at it and probably buy it because it's a very hot commodity right now." And I called my wife. I talked to my wife very fast about it. She said, "Do it." She gets the Wife of the Year award
Awesome.
for that. She said,
Awesome.
"Babe, do it. You've wanted that all your life," and she's known that. And
Yeah.
so with the wrapping money that I had saved up, I was able to just buy it outright.
That
And
is so cool.
It's such a blessing. When I look at that, I don't worship the car, but man, whenever I see it, I still get the tinglies going
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Very good.
It's a really nice ride.
Now, was that the same car that you and Louis, the Boilerman, was in? What was that?
That was actually a Lamborghini.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a Lamborghini. It was one of his friends in New York.
Okay.
We went over. He surprised me with that part of the video shoot. We weren't planning. I wasn't planning on that, but he wouldn't tell me where we were going. He said, "Okay, everybody, you got the film crew. Everybody, let's get in the cars." And we
This
rolled.
is Louis the Boilerman.
Louis the Boilerman. And so this is in Long Island, just outside of New York City. And so we pull up at this house. I still have no idea. And we're all standing outside excited. They're all excited I'm like, who's coming out, right?
Right.
It wasn't really about who was coming out. When the garage door opened and then he fired that Lamborghini up, it was like, wow,
yeah.
that's cool. He backed that thing out, and then we pulled out in the street, and we was able to do that video shoot.
So you and Louis, the boiler man, did a rap in
Yes.
the car, right?
Yeah.
Was that for a customer, or was that for a product, or what was that about?
That was for fun.
Just for fun.
That was for fun. It was a little spoof on Push It, that Salt and Pepper song, Push It Real Good.
Yeah.
Well, it was Heat It Real Good. So Louis the Boiler Man does boilers and heating that way. I do hot water heaters,
Right.
water heaters. And so, between the two of us, we've got heating going on, and he said, let's collaborate on something. So he kind of came up with the idea, and
Awesome.
he wrote his lines, I wrote my lines. We recorded it long distance in 2 different studios, had it all put together. Yeah, and I flew out and stayed with him for a couple days at his house.
Awesome.
He was a very good host.
Very cool.
Louis is a very interesting person.
He is a one creative dude.
He is a creative.
Now we're all
dude.
going to have to get food trucks, I think.
Yeah, Food Rocket. So this is a commercial for the food, sponsored by the Food Rocket.
Is it?
But that's what he would say.
Yeah, for sure. Very good.
Yeah, no, Louis is a great guy, and I think we're actually looking to do something. I think AHR is looking for me and Louis to do something, maybe for next year.
Awesome.
Yeah, so a little sneak peek at what may be coming.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah,
Very
something
cool.
from Louis and I.
All right, Danny. Thanks so much for coming.
You're
on.
welcome. Thank
All right.
you. Take care, Dennis. Yeah.